So now from our perspective here, we look out to the skies around us and we see the sun has moved from our perspective into that portion of the star field that we associate with the fifth hexagram. And the fifth hexagram is all about timing. So part of the deal of being in this space-time continuum on planet Earth, we're subject to two things: where we are, space, and time. What is the timing to things that go on around us? So the one thing is to be in the right place at the right time and to accept all of that and to see wherever I am is where I need to be, and I'm constantly looking for places that resonate with me. And we would say that was very much gateway number 46, serendipity. Now we're looking at the fifth gateway, and this is all about what is the natural timing of what it is that goes on around us and how does it affect us. These are the pages. We're now still in the astrological sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius always tending to look towards the future. What is the possibility? What is the vision for things coming up? And we're seeing the channel here, the potential channel connected up, the 5 to the 15. 15 right down in the bottom of the chart, right at the base. We would call that the summer equinox in the northern hemisphere. We'd call it the winter equinox in the southern hemisphere. 15th gateway in the top right. Fifth gateway in the top right there, which we're looking at today, all about timing. And the 15th gateway in the bottom, we call it love of humanity, and that expression of that connectedness, our sense of trust in the circumstances and the people around us. So the whole channel makes up this channel of 515, which is all about timing. It's all about being in the rhythm, in the flow of life. And so all of us know times in our lives when we've been completely out of time. You know, we've missed the train, we've missed the boat, we've missed the phone call, we missed the email, missed the party, missed the connection on some level. Or we kind of come to realize that life is racing past us and we're not in touch, we're not in tune with what's going on, we're just totally caught up in activity. And so this channel of 515, we get to see that it's common to all life forms. So we're going out of a sense of what the clock is telling us, and we're going into a sense of universal timing. What is the universe wanting for us? What is going on in the larger playbook of things? So what we're going to find is this fifth gateway is common to all living things. We could say it's the gateway of the gardener, the farmer, somebody who has to be in touch with the seasons. It's the gateway of the fisherman. It's the gateway of the nature lover. Because the universe runs in its own very particular schedule. And this fifth gateway is all about connecting into that schedule. So it's a fascinating thing to see that all living things, going from insects to the most sophisticated form of life, all tie into the fifth gateway. So it has everything to do with seasons, right timing, universal timing. So those that have this fifth gateway will find quite often they have a little bit of an anomaly going on with clocks and what we accept to be the timing of things in the world, because the universe works in its own very particular stream of events and timings around that. So we can change the clocks, we can do all these things, you know, try and turn day into night and all these things, but it's like nature has its own exact timing. And that's what the fifth gateway is all about. So all aspects of life have rituals, sequences, and timing, both natural and imposed. So in a sense, we are always imposing. When we run by the clock, we're imposing ourselves on the natural timing of things. Nature has its own progression. When the birds fly south, when the fish swim north, when the leaves drop from the trees, all of these things are part of this fifth gateway. And so we call it waiting. What are we waiting for? We're waiting for the right moment in time. And so all of us know those times in our lives where we've jumped the gun, we've tended to rush into something and we find ourselves completely out of time. It's like when we're telling a joke or we're listening to a joke, there's an exact moment in which the punchline needs to come in. Otherwise, the whole thing doesn't really work. And somebody telling a joke and somebody interrupts the joke, the whole moment is gone. So all of us will get this sense there's always a universal timing to everything. Here is the commentary on this particular line, and I bring in the word the gardener, because the gardener finds ease in any circumstance by tuning to the natural seasons of change. And that's what the fifth gateway is all about, is the natural seasons of change. Everything takes its right timing. It's like, there's this impulse to kind of force the pace on things sometimes. And we just know it's when in a musical score, when a note is played out of time, it just all of a sudden the whole piece doesn't really work so well. And here for people with the fifth gateway and with the 15th gateway for that matter, this whole channel of universal timing, a potential difficulty working within other time frames. It's just, there's that natural rhythm, that natural flow of life. And the moment somebody interrupts or take you out of that natural sequence, it can blow off the whole event. So let's have a look-see at the lines. First lines always give the foundation for any hexagram. So any hexagram, you're concerned, what is this hexagram really about? So the first line gives the foundational meaning of it. And here the foundational meaning for the first line is attuning, persistently paying attention to your own inner timing. Now, this is a gateway that comes out of the sacral center in the human design chart. And the sacral center is all about that response to life. And so we can see in our hurry to get on with things, the fifth gateway has this thing, something is being offered. What are we responding to it? Are we ready for it? Are we giving a yes for it? Are we involved in it? Is this part of our own inner timing? Or is it we're being hurried along and chivied along and get on with it? So life is full of distractions that can pull you away from your inherently natural timing. And for anyone that's got this in their chart, or you've got somebody in your life that's got this gateway in their chart, you'll just see they have their own scheme of events, and you interrupt that and you take them out of their own natural timing. And all of a sudden things get lost or forgotten or left out of it all. And so just to reinforce this whole thing of timing is one of the key issues being here in this life on planet Earth. So Mars you have the intent to keep your own fixed rhythms, regardless of diversions. Mars stays very focused, very on it. I'm going to stay with my own timing on this, whether anyone else appeals to it or not, whether it works for anybody else or not. I'm just staying with my own inherent natural timing. And then the Earth's presence here, failing to honor your own timing and giving in to imposed demands, brings exhaustion. One of the things about the sacral center is it is the massive amount of energy that's available, this expanding of life force energy into the world. That's what the sacral center does for us. Unlimited resource of energy. It generates life force energy. But the thing of it is, if you move out of your own rhythm, you move out of universal timing, sooner or later you're dispensing this energy into things that really don't relate to you. And so you get caught up in the diversions, and sooner or later find yourself exhausted. So we're talking here about, in the first line here, one's own inherent natural timing. Right? Everything in its right season, everything in its right moment. And that's just this thing, persistently paying attention. Am I in tune? Am I in time? Am I living my own life in my own way, or am I living according to everybody else's constraints and the clock and hurry, hurry, hurry? The second line. Of all the lines, the second line can be the most natural. It doesn't necessarily know what it's getting involved in. Why are these things important for it? But it's coming into that own natural rhythm. And within that, the second line finds tranquility. watchfully waiting for your own right timing, regardless of anybody else or whatever's going. Yes, of course, if the train's going to leave and you've made a booking on the train, yes, it's worth being on the platform and ready to get on board before the thing leaves. But if you allow life to rush you all the time, you lose that sense of inner timing, and you will not maintain that tranquility. You will not find that tranquility. All actions have an appropriate timing, and you're either comfortable with waiting or not. And we're all supposing life is going to bring us this, and I'm supposed to feel like this when that happens, and I've got to be here for this, that, and the other. So many pressures and distractions on us. And the whole thing is, when you're in a state of tranquility and you're according to your own natural timing of things, you'll always arrive in the right place at the right time. You'll always be on things in a right way. And you will have that natural tranquility, that natural thing. The Venus energy here, trusting your own nature to be comfortable with your own pace in all areas of life. Right? Nothing about according to everybody else's sense of what you're supposed to be doing and how fast you're supposed to be doing it. It's just you go in your own rhythm, your own timing. That's the basis of this fifth gateway, finding your own rhythm. And here, Pluto, your drive for transformation, suffers anxiety with fixed rhythms and causes disruptions. There is something about a fixed rhythm, a fixed pace, a fixed ritual in which things have to just take their course. And some of these things work beautifully. The second line of it's trying to see some kind of shift or transformation. Then sooner or later there will be disruptions. So again, this whole thing is finding that tranquility. Where's the tranquility? The tranquility exists in being in your own pace, involving yourself in things that really relate to you. And of course, we're always going to look at the type and authority in your design to say, what are the things that really call to you? Where are you being drawn into things? And what are the things that need to be bypassed? The third line always has this touch and go potential. Do I get involved or not? Is this something that really calls to me or not? Because the third lines are always the first ones in. They're the pioneers, the experimenters. And here's the potential of being nervous. Okay, is it right moment yet? Shall I go or shall I stop? Is it right? The potential to become anxious when it seems like nothing is happening. What is it like to find complete tranquility in one's life? So you've got a ticket for an airplane. You're going to take a trip somewhere. You're at the gate. You got your luggage, whatever you need. And it's like, shall I get in the line now or shall I just wait until we're called? Or, shall I try and get it ahead of the queue or whatever? Is it right? And that's the whole nature of this third line here. What's the waiting all about? The thing's going to fly. I've got a ticket. Everything's ready to go. It's just they haven't called it yet. And it's, again, this thing, the fifth line is all about whatever the clock says. The airline's got its own schedule. It's got it, the thing will take, it's a complicated issue to find its own natural rhythm, to draw back from the gate and get on the runway. But there's nothing like having this nervousness. Will I, won't I? Shall I, shan't I? Is it going to go or not? All waiting has an implied helplessness that can prompt you to act without clear direction. There's that doubt, that concern. Is it going to work or not? Shall I get ahead of the game? Shall I drop the whole thing? An implied helplessness. It's out of my hands. And here the Neptune gives it your imagination eases the monotony of dull routines and relieves the stress of waiting. So the imagination can, have they got a plane here? Have they got crew? Is the thing going to fly? The imagination can expand this whole sense. Look, I can just calm down. It's all going to work. It's all going to happen. Everything is going to find its life moment. The moon here, constantly going and coming and going. A constantly shifting restlessness upsets your inner timing, inclining you to be incautious. Right? You tend to go against your inner timing, the natural sequence of events. All of us have this potential pressure to jump the gun on things or to just feel completely nervous. Is it working or not? Is the timing right or not? And so the third line epitomizes the concerns. Am I in right time? So again, we say, come back into your type 1 authority and just see, where am I in this particular situation, in this moment in time? Do I need to be nervous about it? Nothing appears to be happening. Am I at the right place? Is this all going to take place or not? And then we see the moment we calm down, we take a deep breath, we get back into our own rhythm, and sure enough, everything works. Maybe we missed the plane. Do you think there'll be another one? Is it the end of the world? The fourth line. So the fourth line always has this potential to influence others. A lot of people will look to the fourth line to say, hey, what's your input here? Can you see what it is that's really going on here? What's the timing like? Are we in the right season here? And the fourth line, the line is called biding time. Really, patience that leaves you open to find worthwhile opportunities. So a lot of us will have found in life that we've made a decision about something, we've jumped the gun on it, we were not patient. And all of a sudden we see, oh my goodness, if I just waited 5 minutes longer or another day or so, I'd have found a much better arrangement, a much better way in. So the fourth line, the key of the fourth line is, hang on a minute, there's all this expectation about what's supposed to be taking place here. Let me trust in my own type and authority to find out when to get involved and when to leave it alone. Watching prevailing conditions and weighing your options until opportunities appear. That's a key with the fourth line, is seeing for opportunities. Where do they come from? How do they show up? And it's just that thing, opportunities come when they're ready to come. Sometimes you'll be the first one to recognize something. Sometimes everybody else will have it before you do. But there it is, the fourth line has to recognize the whole thing about waiting is being patient, but alert at the same time, and looking for that opportunity to respond. One of the clearest things that came through human design was recognizing the difference between reaction and response. And this is particularly with gateways in the sacral center, and particularly with the fifth gateway, about waiting for the right timing on things. Having that patience. All of us will have seen in our lives opportunities we've had where we've reacted. Something's come our way and we just react. And reaction basically means we're taking old knowledge, borrowed ideas, comparison issues, and applying it to the situation. It's not clean, it's not clear, it's just a reaction. And the beautiful thing about a response is when a response comes, it brings with it all the potential intelligence that the person carries within them to apply to that situation. And so the fifth gateway is very key in this whole thing of responding in right ways and not reacting, not feeling that sense of impatience, I'm going to miss it all, but having that sense of connecting into the natural timing of events. So here with the fourth line, biding time, waiting for the opportunities to appear. Uranus gives it a flavor. You outlast times of unrest and respond to each situation in life with your innovativeness, your natural intelligence. That's what's possible. You get the opportunity, you're in tune with it, you're in universal timing with it, and here it is. And the sun has a very different energy here, attempting to force the pace of life. You'll lose opportunities in predictable sequences. And you look behind, oh my goodness, I missed out on this, I missed out on that, I missed out on the other, just through being impatient. Now, a lot of times we'll say impatience is a natural thing. I don't have the patience. But this fifth gateway is going to make it really, really clear to us. Some things are absolutely worth waiting for. We get to the fifth line, and the fifth line very much has this potential to give guidance, give leadership in this whole arena of right timing. And here the fifth line always has this thing, am I according for my own natural timing, or am I subject to everybody else's input and the pressures and ideas and expectations people have of me? And so the fifth line is called inner balancing. Innocent acceptance of life's rhythm is a vital quality of being. Right? Life has its own timing. But the fifth line can second guess and say, well, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could fit that into the scene. And in the end, anything that comes out of the sacral center, there's always a potential of frustration. It could have worked out better. I could have done it differently. I felt pressured. Instead of, I'm going with my own natural rhythm. I'm getting with this inner balance I have of recognizing life's got a natural rhythm for me. And it's great when I align myself with that. Seeing what life offers can be a delight, or if you insist life should bring more, a challenge. And there's always that potential with the fifth line, pushing against the envelope, pushing beyond, going out of balance, going according to perhaps what might be expectations that you pick up from other people around you, from that projection of capability there. Venus gives it a flavor. Your inner calm and assurance accepts whatever existence presents to you. Ooh, natural timing. Oh my goodness, inner calm and assurance. Wow, I get the rhythm, I get the tempo, I get to see how this flow is taking place here, and I can give my energy towards that flow. And then Pluto gives it another flavor. You may overlook finding joy in simple things and instead adopt demands for change. Life should be giving me something different. I'm not satisfied with it. I'm going to go against the natural rhythm of things. And it's all part of life. It's not saying good or bad about this, but it's just seeing ultimately we're looking to have fulfillment and satisfaction in this lifetime. And the more we align with the universal timing of the universe, the more easy it is for us to be able to find that and realize it. We come to the sixth line, which is called releasing. Letting go of any pressure involved in waiting by trusting universal order. It's not an, oh well, I'll just suffer the consequences here. It's about life has its own tempo. Life has its own plan for all of us. All I got to do is be in tune with life. And in this fifth gateway, it's all about being in tune with universal timing. And the sixth line has the potential to recognize that. Sixth lines are always in this place where they can rearrange things for other people. They get the overview of how things can be rearranged, made better, made easier. But then there's always that quandary, do I get involved or not? I can see what could be done, or do I back away from it and just say the universe will work this out? And this is not about avoiding things in life. It's about recognizing there is always a universal order. And the more I respond to the situation rather than react to it, the more that order is going to be preserved and the more the expansion of consciousness will take place. In all growth, there is pressure. It's normal, right? Life keeps on expanding. The one law of the universe, life begets more life. That's how it goes. Honoring natural rhythms enables your readiness for response. And that's in a nutshell. The response brings out our intelligence. The reaction, well, we're just playing by old rules, borrowed concepts, borrowed ideas about how to play life. Neptune here, by accepting your natural rhythm, despite pressures, growth will often come through grace. Ever had that sensation that you get a tap on the shoulder, that somehow or other, oh my goodness, this thing just opened up for me? Yeah, we all have that capability. It's about being open to it and trusting in it, that there is a universal order, that everything is going to come in its right timing. Right timing means that we're going with our own type and authority in engaging with life and seeing the openings. With Venus here, you tend to find it hard to release old comforts and relationships. What's being said here is that potential to get dragged into other people's time frames, other people's considerations of things, that we allow ourselves, oh, well, I'll just put up with so-and-so, even though they're so out of tune with life. I'll just kind of go along with them. And there's that thing of seeing sometimes transformation, sometimes getting into the natural rhythm of life. And let's face it, we're not here to live somebody else's life for them. We have to find our own connection with life. That's what we're here for. And so this sixth line is saying, look, sometimes we have to let go of these old setups. I'm not saying drop everybody in a life that don't get along with you all the time. Yes, there are certain connections here that absolutely are to be lived out, but they have to be lived out on your terms. And that's the bottom line with it. We're all here to find this universal timing in our own sweet way. And when we do, we know immediately where we're in timing, because life just opens up a cornucopia of possibilities and potentials for us to find that fulfillment and our great sense of realization about life. Let's leave